So far, Cathy, napag-usapan natin, bawal i-obligahin yung mga medical practitioners na mag-disseminate. Bawal pong i-allow yung mga kabataan minor na magkaroon ng mga artificial contraceptive methods without the consent of their parents. At bawal din yung mga asawa na magkaroon ng contraception without the approval of their spouses. Hindi pwedeng magpa-vasectomy, hindi pwedeng magpa-ligate without the approval of their spouse. Tatlo na yun.
Oo. Pero may katanungan akong pahabol, Attorney Anthony, paano yung mga single pero gusto mag-avail ng contraception? Allowed ba yon under RH law?
Well, covered sila ng RH law. Okay? Kasi sa RH law, hindi naman binabanggit dyan, not a requirement yung married, yung couple. Okay? Ang binabanggit under RH law is reproductive health, that you would be a very good wife, a very good husband, in general, a very good parent. Because it promotes good parenting at the end. Yun yung talagang gustong mangyari dyan. So kapag single ka and you would want to avail of the services promoted by the government for the reproductive health, then you can go, you have the free choice to go.
Okay, Jules, paano kung strained ang relasyon ng mga bata at kanilang mga magulang? Kaya nga nagiging promiscuous sila, kaya nga nagiging rebelde sila. Kung i-require natin na merong parental consent, hindi ba ito a recipe for failure?
Well, that's one thing though. Kanina kung i-relate natin siya sa information na pwedeng mailagay sa sex education. Kasi ako kunwari, on my personal experience kunwari, hindi ako gano'n ka-open sa parents ko when we're talking about sex education. So mas magiging free siguro or mas comfortable ako kung sa school. But the thing is, kung doon na mismo sa implementation, tas kailangan ng parental consent, so long as minor, ako sa tingin ko, so long as minor, pero given naman yung sex education na appropriate at siguro sufficient din naman nabibigay na information sa grade school at high school, sa tingin ko okay lang siya while being minor. Pero kapag 18 and above ka na, yun nga, mas mabibigyan ka na ng chance para ma-avail itong mga services na to. Pero that's one thing na siguro kailangan mas malinaw pa sa IRR na yun nga, hindi naman kasi lahat ng families ganun ka-open sa issue na to.
Bilang magulang, Mark, kunwari meron ka anak na menor de edad at sinabi sa yung nag-i-engage siya sa sexual acts, ikaw ba sasabihin mo,
God forbid,
punta tayo sa health center?
Hindi ko sasagutin yan.
Grounded for life, di ba? Grounded for life. Ituloy natin yung mga provision na sinabing unconstitutional. Tatlo na po ang ating na-discuss. Attorney Anthony, ano yung isa pa?
Yung isa pa dyan is yung definition ng abortifacients, or abortive medications. Yung sa RH law kasi, ang definition yan, wala yung qualifier na primarily, inducing abortive activities. Ang nangyari doon sa implementing rules and regulations, biglang lumabas yung qualifier doon sa definition na primarily. So technically, the Supreme Court would have to declare that provision, particularly the definition of abortive, na unconstitutional because it is ultra vires or not contained in the RH law. So between the implementing rules and regulations na talaga naman yung sinusundan natin sa statutory construction, between the law, and the implementing rules and regulation, it would always be the law that shall prevail.
In layman's terms po,
siguro, Attorney Cynthia, paliwanag mo nga muna, ano itong pinag-usapan dito? Merong law, may IRR, at hindi pwedeng mag-conflict. Pakipaliwanag yung IRR and law.
Ganito, meron tayong batas, pero para ma-implement yung batas na yan, merong ginawang implementing rules and regulations. So ito yung sinusunod. Ito yung pamamaraan. Ang sinasabi ni Attorney Anthony dito, paano magkakaroon ng sa IRR, sa implementing rules, na word na primarily, kung sa batas mismo ay wala. So kumbaga, it overshoots its authority to say what to make its own definition. So yun lang yung sinasabi dito. Hindi ka pwede magkaroon ng sa law na nag-i-implement ng isang bagay na wala naman sa batas na pinirmahan ng presidente. So yun lang ang actually sinasabi nun. It is beyond parang siguro inexplain without need of explanation because the law is clear as to what it really is.
So ang ibig pong sabihin nito, Attorney Cynthia, patungkol doon sa mga abortifacient drugs, ano pong ibig sabihin? Pwede po bang ibigay sa tao or hindi po pwede? Ano po yung implikasyon nito?
To begin with, to be very clear, hindi naman to talaga pwede. By its term, and especially because we are a highly Catholic society, no? Yung country natin, abortion itself is penalized under our law. So, yun, by itself, hindi na talaga pwede.
Nabanggit ni Sir Lito kanina, Cathy, na happy sila na meron ng definition yung term na yun. Bakit kayo happy, Sir Lito?
Yung definition ng abortifacients? Oo, kasi pinagtatalunan na matagal yan. Ano ba ang abortifacient at hindi, no? May mga contraceptives kasi, 99% ng contraceptive ngayon na nasa merkado, sa amin, ang tingin namin, abortifacients, because lahat yan may tri-action, no? Pine-prevent niya yung ovulation, pinapatay niya yung sperm para hindi ma-fertilize yung egg, no? At yung pangatlo, pine-prevent niya yung implantation, no? Kapag
pero yung definition nyo sa anong abortifacient, dito sa Supreme Court, ano ang definition ng Supreme Court doon sa anong abortifacient?
Sa context yan ng definition ng when life begins, no? Kasi pinagtatalunan, sinasabi nung kabilang party na ang buhay nag-uumpisa sa implantation. Sa amin, ang sinasabi namin, base na rin sa embryology, sa science, na ang buhay ay nag-uumpisa sa fertilization.
Ano ang sabi ng Supreme Court?
Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, nag-uumpisa sa fertilization, yun ang sinasabi sa Konstitusyon.
Okay.
Paano po may tuturing na abortifacient kung hindi naman po na-fertilize?
Hindi nga sigurado kung kung ang action niya ay hindi na fertilize o hindi na implant. Kasi lahat nga, sinasabi ko nga kanina pa, 99% ng contraceptive sa merkado ngayon ay pine-prevent ang implantation as its third action.
Okay, so at least malinaw yon na yung mga bawat partido merong magkaiba, and then the Supreme Court made their own definition that it starts merong abortion kung merong fertilization.
Gusto ko lang malaman kasi ako po ay isang registered nurse at merong medical definition. At meron ding definition dito sa batas. Attorney Anthony, ano po ba yung sinusunod pagdating sa mga paggawa ng batas o pagdidesisyon sa mga batas na merong mga medical terms na sinusunod din?
Well, naging issue kasi talaga yan sa RH law. Okay? Yung term na when does life begin, okay, that is actually the number one, okay, issue. Okay? I wouldn't say major, pero one of the many issues covered by RH law when it was petitioned to the Supreme Court. Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, well, with due respect to Honorable Lagman, one of the co-authors of the RH law, ang sabi niya kasi, fertilization daw is upon implantation. Okay. So, hindi. Sabi ng Supreme Court, no, fertilization, yung tinatawag nating fertilization, nagko-commence yan ng conception.
Pag-meet ng sperm and egg, yun na.
Yes, yun na yun. Yung pag-meet ng male sperm doon sa fertilized ovum na
Okay,
tinatawag.
even if it was not implanted.
Even if it was not implanted. Because implantation, according to the Supreme Court and based on medical opinions, okay, conceptualization happened already before implantation.
All right.
Okay, marami pa tayong issue pag-uusapan patungkol dito sa pagkakadeklara na not unconstitutional ng RH law. Lahat po yan sa pagbabalik ng PTV Special Forum.
Nagbabalik po ang ating special forum. Baling po muna natin sa ating kasamang si Kirby Cristobal para sa katanungan mula sa ating studio audience.
Maraming salamat, Atty. Mark at Cathy. Ating mga bisitang estudyante mula sa iba't ibang universidad at kolehiyo. Si Jen Luces mula sa Bicol University may katanungan. Jen?
Good evening po. Ito pong katanungan po ay para kay Attorney Cynthia Rojas po. Ma'am, do you think po what will be the speculative result of nitong RH law?
Para sa akin kasi we don't need to speculate. At the very least, and the government has gone on record that as soon as it is not declared unconstitutional, it is ready to implement. It's so unfortunate, wala pa yung mga tiga-DOH, ano? But I think ground zero natin would be the information campaign. That's very, very important. And the availment of services, which is already declared to be constitutional by the law. So there's no need for speculation. I think what we should do is to open our hearts and our minds to the full implementation of the law so that we can get and derive the benefits dun sa intended benefits ng law na ito.
Attorney Ross, just a follow-up question. Ayon po dun sa provision ng pinaka-RH law, 10 to 19 years old po magsisimula yung pagbibigay po ng information dun po sa mga kabataan. Ma'am, paano ba tatanggapin ito ng mga bata, especially ng mga 10 years old pa lamang na medyo hindi pa naman po ganun kabukas yung isipan pagdating po sa sex education?
The Department of Education should really work hand in hand with the DOH, di ba? Kasi it is for them to find out what would be acceptable. I think this is where the medical field would play a very big role. Specifically, yung mga those who give or yung mga educators natin, they would be in the best position to know what would be understood by a certain age group. So para sa akin, it is important to start this education early, kagaya nga nung nasabi kanina, para mas maintindihan. At pag mas naintindihan, mas mai-implement at magagamit nila sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na kabuhayan.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Okay, yung pinag-usapan ba rin sex education, gusto kong para mapawi yung pangamba ng ating mga kababayan, kasama na po ako doon dahil meron akong mga babaeng anak. JC, yung gaano kalaganap yung information about sex? Meaning, yung argumento kasi ng iba, Cathy, is we better teach it right, we better teach it in a formal context rather than them getting it elsewhere.
From the wrong sources
Yung information from the wrong sources, gaano ka-real yun?
Well, actually, hindi nga lang, kasi usually ang sinasabi sa peers, di ba, nakakakuha ng ideas. No? In fact, pinakaunang ideas no, tungkol sa sex, no, that would be like grade 2, no, grade magkukwentuhan na sila no ng
grade 2.
Yeah, kasi magtatanong na yan. You'll be 9 years old by then, 'di ba? 8 years old by then. Magtatanong na yan kung 'di ba, how are babies born? No? So, yung fact lang na yon na ganun kabata no, na meron na agad influence from the peers, no? And in fact, saan din galing yung information ng peers nila, 'di ba? One would question, 'di ba? Parang kung tama ba no, yung information na yun. Kung ganun pa lang kabata, na nakakuha na silang information from their peers, kailangan ngang magkaroon sila ng source na formal education na sisigurado na tama yung nakukuha nila. Actually, isa nga dun sa mga naging pag-aaral no, in the United States, no, na isa sa mga alam naman natin, no, matagal nang merong sex education program, no, ay sa totoo lang, no, after nung implementation ng sex ed doon, no, napansin nila no, from statistics na in fact na-delay pa yung incidence of first-time sex no, among the youth no, after nilang mag-implement ng sex ed. And in fact, monte naging sex partners no, nung mga kabataang ito after sex ed was implemented. So, ito yung clear no, and resounding no, na evidence no, na sa totoo lang, no, sex ed will really help the youth to decide with a more informed.
Yung, Cathy, gusto ko lang i-follow up itong sinabi yung informed choice. Dahil sila, Sir Lito, merong mga tumututol talaga sa sex ed, mga grupong ayaw na ituro dahil it might promote promiscuity nga sa ating kabataan. Ngayon na in-approve na, Cathy, itong sex education sa pamamagitan nitong RH law, yung mga grupo na ito, are you going to shift into teaching it correctly or teaching it the right way and the content of what will be taught in schools? Yun na ba yung magiging focus ng advocacy natin?
Doon sa mga Catholic schools, meron namang sinasagawang ganyan. Ano? Pero ang malinaw dito sa batas, bagaman hindi sinabi ng Korte Suprema na unconstitutional siya, merong kolatilya doon, provided na may implement lang yung sex education na yan upon consultation with parents, teachers, and community organizations. So, DepEd cannot unilaterally come up with a module or a curriculum on sex education without consulting parents, teachers, and community organizations. So with that, parang sabi namin, sige, we will shift, no? This time the battle will be on us, parents, being consulted. So we will demand that the DepEd and DOH consult parents and community organizations.
That's good.
Yan.
That's good.
Okay, 4 na po yung na-discuss natin. Ituloy po natin. Ano-ano pa, Attorney Anthony, yung iba pang mga provision?
Ang isa pa dyan ay yung Section 17 ng RH Law. Okay? Kasi nire-require ng RH Law those medical practitioners, okay, engaged in private medical health service institutions, that they would provide at least 24 to 48 hours of free services for health reproductive programs. Ito yung pro bono. Parang sa mga abogado may pro bono din.
Na hindi ma-implement.
Na hindi ma-implement. Sabing ganun ng mga doctors, paano yan kapag consensus objector ako? What is consensus objector? Let's say, for example, yung religious belief ko is totally not in consonance to RH law. Shall I be mandated, obligated, okay, to render pro bono services even if it is against my will and my belief? Then the Supreme Court decided, unconstitutional yon, pwede na i-require lahat ng medical practitioners, but those consensus objector, according to the Supreme Court, cannot be mandated or obligated to render pro bono services.
That sounds
Okay.
good.
Yung susunod po.
Yung isa pa naman dyan ay yung information dissemination as far as medical officers, okay, doon sa government, like public officers, health officers, okay, di ba may mga tinatawag tayong mga rural health areas, okay, rural health hospitals and communities. Now, papaano daw kapag yung mga officers na ito is Catholic, okay, or some of them against yung belief nila? Shall they be compelled, okay, not to promote reproductive health, and they will be penalized? According to the Supreme Court, unconstitutional because that is against their freedom of religion.
So, ibig sabihin, kahit na government employee, let's say, director ng DOH or director ng DSWD, Sir Lito, hindi pwedeng obligahin na mag-disseminate o magbigay ng mga flyers, ganun ba yun?
Oo, walang compulsion. Tinanggal yung punishable acts, no? Sinabi ng Korte Suprema na unconstitutional yan. Dahil nga doon sa right free expression ng iyong faith. Yun, masaya kami doon, dahil kung meron kang Department of Health Secretary na hindi naniniwala dito sa RH law, hindi siya pwedeng pilitin na i-implement niya yung batas. Kung nga ang mga legislators ay ayaw maglagay ng pera para sa contraceptives, hindi mo sila pilitin na maglagay ng pera para sa contraceptives. Ang kagandahan nito, yung consensus objection, hindi lang naiiwan dun sa 7 o 8 probisyon na nanditong sinabing unconstitutional. Malaki yung far-ranging and far-reaching yung implications ng consensus objection. And with that, we're happy. Although, there are still some things that we wish the court could have ruled on. Siguro mamaya pwede natin pag-usapan yun.
Meron na lang 2 pa, Attorney.
Yung isa ay sa health providers, okay? Yung mga hospitals owned by religious organizations, can they be compelled to promote reproductive health as provided for under RH law? Sabi ng Supreme Court, unconstitutional because, again, it is violative of their freedom of religion.
Kasi medyo naguguluhan ako ng konti doon sa consensus objector. Halimbawa nga, director ng DOH. Paano ko yung deputy director niya payag? Or meaning, susuporta doon sa programa?
Paano ma-release?
Hindi, halimbawa, Attorney Cynthia, sabi ng director, hindi tayo magdi-disseminate. Sabi ng deputy, hindi, magdi-disseminate tayo. Paano kung merong conflict, merong payag, merong hindi? Paano i-resolve yung bagay na yun kung meron kang national program of information dissemination or flyering or kung anumang distribution yan? Paano yun? This is actually the right to your own beliefs versus insubordination.
Correct. So in this particular case, in the situation that you just mentioned, I think that the conscientious objector should find it in himself. If he cannot fully implement what is already mandated under the law, then he should take it upon himself to step aside, to allow the law to be implemented in the manner that it has been ordained or as decided by the Supreme Court. Kasi law na yun eh. So kahit ayaw mo, kung sa palagay mo hindi tama yun, but it is the law already, and kahit na ikaw yung head of office, I think you should take it upon yourself. Kasi ikaw rin mismo, you cannot implement what you believe in. So I think what should be done in this particular case, if it ever so happens, is for that person to step aside.
So ang ibig sabihin nun, kung ikaw nga pinayagan ng batas na magdesisyon na hindi mag-participate, wag mong hadlangan yung iba na i-ano yung batas, no, isagawa. JC, anong reaction mo dito sa desisyon na ito?
Actually, yun nga for me yung isa talaga malaking problem dun sa naging decision ng Supreme Court. Sa totoo lang, hindi ako ganun kasaya dun sa naging decision ng Supreme Court. Kasi, for one, ang nangyayari tuloy ngayon, nag-speculate tayo na pwedeng mangyari. No, whereas the Supreme Court should be deciding cases only involving actual questions. No? Ngayon tuloy, napangunahan nila no, yung publiko no, or yung ganyang posibilidad na mangyari yan, na dineclare nila na pwedeng mag-object no, yung isang deputy director no, or director no, ng Department of Health. No, whereas, we should have waited no, or inantay natin na mangyari siya no, before the court should have decided it. Pero in any case, no, for me kasi talaga, no, merong ibang klaseng duty no, or obligation yung isang public officer. No, at pangalawa, isang health provider. No, meron tayong kumbaga state interest no, in ensuring public health. No, and hindi pwedeng i-argue nang basta-basta no, na meron silang discretion just because they believe differently. For example, no, paano kapag sa isang relihiyon, no, tama na magkaroon ng isang human sacrifice? No, or tama na magkaroon ng, di ba? Tama magkaroon ng animal sacrifice or what?
Human sacrifice.
Nag-alay ng puso.
Pero, alam nyo, di ba, na hindi yan malabo. No? Pero kung hindi ganun, di ba, will we say na conscientious objector lang sila against murder, di ba? Or against homicide? Hindi eh. Di ba? There is a certain balancing. There should have been a certain balancing. Kung ano nga ba yung mas mahalaga? Yung state interest ba or yung freedom of religion ng isang tao? And for me, it's the state interest in this case. No? Kasi sobrang dami ng problema no, about reproductive health no, sa bansa natin. And in fact, that was decided by Congress, which should have been really no, the proper decision maker kung alin yung papanigan no, ng Estado sa ganitong tanong. No? And not the court.
Makikita po natin kung gaano katatalino ang anchors ng Telebisyon ng Bayan. Reaction po ni Ginoong David, meron po kayong parang naging reaction kanina doon sa sinasabi
Kasi
ni
parang
JC.
sinasabi ni JC din, Cathy, na parang meron kang obligasyon bilang a state actor meaning state employee or state official to uphold the law and implement the law versus your own personal beliefs.
Anong ba dapat mauna?
Which brings me to yung isang argument na hindi nag-rule ang korte. No? The court cannot promote and at the same time protect. No? Dahil dun sa constitutional provision na equally protect the life of the mother and the unborn from conception to natural death. Ha? By promoting RH or the use of contraceptives, you're actually not protecting the unborn from conception.
Okay.
Yan. Kaya medyo ano talaga, no? Kaya merong pang sektor doon sa anti-RH group na sinasabi na dapat questionin pa ulit yun. No?
Okay, that's very interesting kasi it goes back to the root of their argument na tao na yon even if there's no conception yet or fertilization, implantation, malalim po talaga yung discussion.
Pero the root of the matter daw is
the root of the matter is we go on a break. So baybayan niyo po ang mga nalalabing diskusyon dito lang sa inyong PTV Special 4.